and sutra is the general topic. All the dharmas spoken by the Buddhas and Tathagatas are respected by us as sutras. This title follows the Chinese custom. Before Buddhism came to China, the Chinese called the teachings of ancient saints and sages sutra. For example, Confucianism has the 13 classics. Taoist Laozi respectfully calls it Tao Te Ching, the way and its power. And Zhuangzi respectfully calls it Nanhua Jing, Nanhua scriptures. They all refer to the teachings of ancient saints and sages. In this way, after Buddhism was introduced to China, the Chinese respected it and called it a classic, sutra. According to the explanation in the classics, the original Sanskrit text is called Shuddhara. The original meaning of Shuddhara is thread, because in the past Buddhist scriptures were written in palm leaf manuscript. And after they were written, holes were made on both sides and threaded with rope, so it was called thread. The Chinese don't respect this as thread, but the Chinese respect it as sutra. In Shuddhara, there are usually 5 meanings. The first is the meaning of Yangchen, which is like spring water emerging from the ground. The meaning that Buddha said is infinite. We now say that it is very attractive. The more you read it, the more interesting it is. Unlike the writings of people in the world, if you read newspapers and magazines in the world, you will not want to read them a second time after reading them. Why? Once the taste is exhausted and gone. The taste is very light, not strong. Everyone likes to see and read good literary works in the world. But if you read them 10, 20, or 30 times, you don't want to read them anymore. The taste of them is much stronger than that of newspapers and magazines. You read it a dozen times, dozens of times. But classics are different. The taste of classics will never decline. We can make a comparison. Among the famous Chinese literary works, the 4 major novels: Journey to the West, Outlaws of the Marsh, Romance of the Three Kingdoms, and Dream of Red Chamber. These are the 4 famous Chinese literary novels. How many times can you read them? After watching it 10 or 20 times, you don't want to watch it. Let me tell you, I have watched it more than 10 or 20 times. And that was when I was a student. Such a big book. Let me tell you, students, I will read this book from beginning to end for at most a week. I started reading Chinese classical literature and art novels in the 4th grade of elementary school. I stopped reading them after the 1st grade of junior high school. But the 4 books and 5 classics and ancient prose, you have read them since elementary school until you have a white beard, and you still have a taste, and you still relish them, which are different and have endless meanings. The taste of Buddhist scriptures is even stronger. If you can get into the Mahayana classics of Buddha, you will no longer want to read the classics of the world. When I was a beginner, I was very interested in psychology. I found a lot of Chinese and foreign classics on psychology, but I didn't finish them. Later, when I came into contact with the Buddha Dharma, I came into contact with Yogacara, Buddhist psychology. If you compare all the psychology in the world with the Yogacara, it is too far behind. The taste of Buddhism is rich, like spring water gushing out. The second meaning is birth, which can give birth to all subtle good things. So after reading the Buddhist scriptures, your heart is kind and your deeds are kind, and you will naturally be kind. And your character and virtue will be brought out. This kindness is not learned. The third meaning is Shengmo. In today's words, Shengmo is a standard. A standard for determining truth and falsehood, right and wrong, good and evil, beneficial and harm. Shengmo is a metaphor. It probably still exists in China. Carpenters use an ink fountain to draw a black line when sawing wood, and then follow the saw. Now Westerners don't use this thing anymore. And it means standard. The fourth meaning is display, which can reveal the truth. The fifth meaning is knotted garlands. Knotting garlands means running through all dharmas. If we talk about it now, it is scientific judgment, which is the study of chapters and sentences. Its textual organization from beginning to end is seamlessly interconnected, clear distinction. The structure of the text is strict, and its ideological system is very clear. Shuddhara has these 5 meanings. There are also multiple meanings. Like Master Chengguan, in the Avatamsaka Sutra, which talks about 10 meanings. In the Avatamsaka Sutra, 10 represents perfection. However, when we usually explain the meaning of the scriptures, we mostly use the 4 words, permeating the common method to explain it. And it is generally explained very well. 1. Contemplation means to run through. To tie a garland, the Buddha's teachings are very organized, layered, and orderly. This is the science of scientific judgment. In the later academic circles of China, there was the so-called study of chapters and sentences. In fact, the study of chapters and sentences was transformed from the study of Buddhist scriptures. Buddhism had a profound influence on Chinese academic circles. Pinyin is also learned from the Avatamsaka Sutra's alphabet. This is the meaning of consistent. Ni means taking in, which is the meaning of Yangchen just now, which means the stream flows out as just said. It has endless flavors, and can absorb people's hearts. After you touch it and read it, you can't stop it, you will be very happy. It has this power. Moreover, this flavor of the Dharma will never fade, and the deeper it gets, the thicker it becomes. This is something that no book in the world can do. It has such a strong absorbing power. Chong always means that the theoretical method it talks about will never change. Transcending time and space. In ancient times, 3,000 years ago, people who followed these theories and methods achieved success in their studies. Today, modern people 3,000 years later, using this method and theory, can also achieve success and transcend time. In ancient times, Indians used this method to achieve success, and now Chinese people can also use this method to achieve it, transcending space. The works of time and space. This is the truth. Dharma is the rules, the regulations. Practice according to this method. You will be successful. The classics have the 4 meanings of contemplation, taking in, regularity, and dharma. We will stop here with the introduction of the scriptures. The title of this scripture is Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva's Fundamental Vow Sutra. We practice according to the theory and method of this classic, and achieve our own Ksitigarbha Dharma. Only with this foundation can all Mahayana Buddhism be established, and the Buddha Dharma of the Pure Land can be established. Leaving this foundation, I tell you, any Buddha Dharma cannot be established. All Mahayana and Pure Land methods are based on this foundation. Without this foundation, there is no Buddhism. This is more important than anything else. Therefore, if you really want to learn Buddhism, and hope that you can achieve something in this life, you must pay attention to this method, and study it seriously.